All right, this is a video about editing the pictures that I scanned from film. And here I'm making them larger, the icons larger. This is a 2400 DPI folder of scans. And it was the wrong one. This is another one. So here they are. If I just click on the first one, the editor will come up. And I have to straighten the pictures first. And that's that little bar on the bottom. Drag it left and right, and the picture rotates. Then I have to make the size the same. So I click on it and move it up and down or the other way. I desaturate everything because I'm going to print it on a digital printer and I do not want to use the inks for color. So if I desaturate it, it should only use the black and white and gray inks. I change other brightness or contrast or however I think it'll look better. This is the corner by my house. There's extra space on the bottom that has to go away, so I rotate it, and a lot of it does go away. Sometimes when you print a digital picture, it comes out too gray or dark. So I tend to make all of these kind of brighter and more contrasty. And that's why I was trying to develop the negatives to have more contrast. But that turned out to be difficult to print in the darkroom. But right now I'm going for all of the 2x2 images, and I have 3 different cameras that will photograph in that format. And I use different films for it. So all of these folders have them scanned already. I've done all that work. So I'm desaturating everything. And I make it brighter. You can't really judge from this video. You have to be right in front of it to see it. This film was Ilford Delta 3200. Turned out really, really thin and light, and the scanner was able to pull really nice images out of it. The negatives were terrible. And there were some people coming to the beer store to get supply, 2 people, and I caught them in the picture. I don't often get any people in my pictures. The bottom left corner is too light. So, I would try to crop some of that out. But it looks like the image from here has to rotate clockwise a little bit. Doesn't look right. The drain pipe from the roof is slanted. So I'm going to have to go back and fix that. This one's a little dull, but there I rotate it to the left. I look at the doorway and the horizontals like the near step to try to get a horizontal. But there's a lot of convergence of perspective lines on the building going up. There's more contrast. Make it brighter. What am I going to do? Deepen the shadows. Yeah, that helped a little. And then save options. I overwrite. I don't save a separate version. Now this one has some spots on the negative because it was so thin. Some of it got burned out, and I have to correct those after I straighten it and adjust the size of the image so that it is square. And that is really hard to do. It is so delicate. I wish I had a better editor where I could just type the number, or click a button or something. But this one, it came with the laptop, and that's what I use. That's what I'm stuck with. All right, so there, I got it. Now I'm going to desaturate it and change other things. Brightness, yeah, make it brighter. Now here we go, looking for spots. This is an eraser, and there's brush size, so I make it really small, and then I rotate the wheel on the mouse, and the circle is just a little bit larger than these little dots. And there's a scratch line. We'll get rid of that. And have to look at different places. There's one at the bottom left corner. Yeah, that's a big one right down there. So we'll try to get that one. Might have to change the brush size. Now I make it smaller because there's more dots on the other side of the picture. I can't see it on the screen. Make it brighter. There, that's better. I'm looking at this in the editor, and it's a really tiny picture. There's a big one. We'll get rid of that. Give it a couple clicks. And this isn't something that you can do in the darkroom. You have to do this kind of work with a paintbrush and a magnifying glass. All right, so it is desaturated. We're probably done editing, and we'll make a save. We're almost done with all of them. This was really neat. It was very shady. For some reason, the left side of the picture is lighter than the right, but it's probably because it was out in the sun. I'm wondering if the shutter on the camera is a horizontal moving thing. That happened with the 35 millimeter camera, the Minolta, and you compensate by burning, by sliding a card sideways. I don't know how to do that digitally other than adjusting the highlights to be darker and lighten the darks. I don't know, or darken everything to get rid of the glow. But it's desaturated. That's the important thing. I didn't try to level it. I like the upward looking perspective of this. This is really neat looking. I like this picture a lot. Okay, this one's very plain Jane. It's a nice big house. This one was being worked on. I don't know if I'll even use it. I might try. Here we have a picture, and there's a person in the picture was just going home, and I hurried up and took the snap to get a human being in the picture. Don't often get them. So it takes a long time to try to get the right setting to make it square, because this is square format and the edit should be square. Okay. So this takes a lot of playing around to see what's going to look better. But here's a close-up. There you see the person stepping the last step on top. There's a little bit of stuff on the right that could probably be cropped out. I don't know what that was. I took several pictures of this house. There's the second one. It has more room on the left. It doesn't take a lot of rotating to make it look correct. Holding the camera uh, by hand without a tripod or anything, it's and it's so small, you know, it's difficult to get the perspective correct. But the convergence of perspective lines is easier to deal with when you're farther away, even if you get a fender in the picture. But everybody drives cars, and I guess you've got to include them. Now, there is another version of that. That one's kind of dull looking, but it's a nice big house. They're all brick, and these big porches are so nice. Okay, I will desaturate and change the different contrasts and shadows, darken the shadows. I didn't look for spots, but I'll bet there's some in there somewhere. And that looked like the last one. So the soundtrack is moving to the right on my edit screen, and it's almost completely out of the picture. I'm going to go back and look through these. I have skipped some, so I may include the house that was being worked on. There it is. I remember doing this. Now, this one was also light on the left and dark on the right, but the street didn't have any trees, so the camera picked it up. But it might be a problem with the shutter. I don't know. So I'm going to crop a lot of that light out and make the picture smaller. And that helped. Now I've got to make it the right size and get the numbers on the bottom to match. And we're almost at the end here. So I've got to desaturate and contrast and shadows and highlights, and brightness, and exposure. I don't know what the difference between brightness and exposure is. It changes things. You just have to play around with it until you figure it out. This house has been being worked on for a long time. It's a owner mod. It's taken him years, but he's getting there. There's that other picture of the big house. I don't think I'm going to use it. So I might delete some pictures out. Yeah, I did. So the folders will be used. I'm going to look through all of the pictures, see if they look good. Remember, this one has really bad negatives, but the scanner picked it up like crazy. Couldn't believe it. It's wonderful. The first time I did this, I scanned the entire sheet and then I enlarged individual squares from the plastic sleeves. And I learned later that you get a brighter picture if you don't do it that way. So now I put the negatives into plastic trays and do them two at a time. And so all the negatives are cut in twos.